Good morning. I didn't anticipate doing this video, but there's a person or persons in the UK, if I remember right, called Trefoil Stained Glass, and they saw something on this particular piece that I didn't even see, and we'll talk about that and see if we need to change it or not. I'm open to changing it if we need to. Let's get this. By the way, I'll mention again, this tape on here just locks this piece down or keeps it locked down, so when I get the lead across here, then I can take the tape up. Right now, we don't need the tape. And so what I'm going to do, I would normally leave it, but what I'm going to do is get it up so we get a good look at what this very keen observer has seen. All right, let's do this. What they're asking me about is, see this piece of lead right here that goes all the way across? And they're asking me, is there a reason why I didn't extend that lead all the way across here? And really, there isn't a reason. I evidently, I don't know which side I did first. Might have been this side. Anyway, I looked at this and thought, well, you know what? I'll just go all the way across with that lead right to there. And then, pardon me, early in the morning, then I came here and I stopped the lead because I anticipated taking a piece of lead and going all the way up to there, and one piece of lead there. So anyway, I just didn't bring it across there. I don't know which one came first. If I'd done this one first, I should have done that one that way. If I'd done this one first, should have done this one that way. It doesn't make any difference, and I'll tell you why. It's a real gentle arc right here, so that lead will come right down to there. There'll be a solder joint right there. And the same thing here. The lead, instead of this going all the way across here like the other side's going to be, it'll just come right here. But the arc itself is so gentle that, well, I need some water here in a minute. Let me get it now. There you go. Pardon me for that. When this lead comes down across here, it'll make that intersection right there and be soldered, and you wouldn't be able to tell whether that made that gentle slope all the way to there or not. So it won't make any difference. And in fact, on a real complicated leaded piece, there's probably differences like that all over the thing. It's not necessarily mandatory that every piece of lead be the same from one side to the other, because these gentle curves or arcs will get covered up under the solder joint, and you wouldn't be able to tell whether, for instance, right here, we could have taken this piece of lead right here and gone right on to there and chopped it right there. So generally what I'm doing is looking at trying to make a piece the longest. So this is, 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I'm trying to think of a little more difficult to figure out exactly where to cut it here like I did here. And in fact, I've given myself a little bit of room right there to get the lead across here. Yeah, I think the smarter move would be this side right here. But then again, you're going to have to come here and get this to set right. So, the old saying, 6 of one, half a dozen of another. But that was a real good, that just leads me to believe that people are paying attention to this, because I didn't even catch that. But I didn't catch it because it's not that big a deal. It doesn't really make any difference. And this isn't a complicated window, but on a real complicated leaded piece, you could find differences all over the place. Well, that's all I have for this little short video. And and I had mentioned I was going to come from, I don't know which side, this side across. And I thought about it, and I thought, you know what, I'm okay right here. What'll happen is I'll come back over here, put that piece of lead there in, which is like this one right here, and this piece of glass in, and this glass is book matched right from here. So I've got an opportunity here to put this one in and book match it from there to there. And then I left this piece of scrap, if you want. That's not actually scrap. I left that scrap because that came right off of this piece right here, and that means I can set this piece up and be book matched across this direction. And that's the only one left. There's that one, this one, and this one. So there's only 3 of this particular green glass left. And I've got it sitting right here, and I've put a couple of X's up here. I don't want to be on that end. This is where we're working. So from this side is the left side of that panel, and this side is the right side. So you can see there's a little bit of difference here. And I'm trying to stay book matched so all these colors and stuff flow. And up here we're working on the leaves out of this brown glass here. So just getting started out here this morning. What is it? I've been out here since about 8 o'clock. I usually try to start around 8 o'clock or so. And I go to 4 generally, unless it's something, I really got to finish up. So we're moving along here pretty good. This will go slow right in here. We're going to change colors here pretty quick. We still have these 2 leaves here, these 2 leaves there. That might not even be a leaf right there. I can't remember. Anyway, I'll look at my original picture of this thing. And we're real close to the end of the whole piece up in here. I went ahead, oh, by the way, and put this in. And see, stay on the line. That gives me a place for this to pull back into so I can set all of this right. So we're down here in the, final, I don't know. I wouldn't say final throws because this is going to be the most difficult part of the piece. And I don't want to get too, I'll probably do this one here and this one. And then we'll probably start trying to build across here and then finish up there. I don't want to get into a hole here where I have to push and fight down in the bottom of this thing to try to get it to work. And the lid is fitting, pretty well. Gonna make it easy to solder. And we'll cement this thing. People are interested in that. Patina, all that kind of stuff. And boy, it's coming together nicely. Not a big panel, but certainly some interesting lead work in this thing. Boy, it's going to be a beautiful panel finished up. We get it cemented, then we get the dark patina on it. It'll look like it's 100 years old when we get through with it. Okay, that's all I have. And boy, it's questions like that that really, I had to read that thing 2 or 3 times. I said, what in the world? And then I got over here and looked at this thing. I said, yeah, there's a difference. That piece of lead there was cut off before it made it around. And this one made it around. So that's a good question. I like that. Okay. I appreciate it. We'll take a look at this video. Oh, and somebody said, oh, yeah. I know when you're not paying attention to the videos and they're asking questions anyway, which is, it's what it is. I said this little hole in the lid. What that? And I said, look at the video, and somebody asked a question. What do you mean the hole in the lid? See that little hole right there? I put that hole with that little tool, and I dig that little tool down in there, and I can pull that lead back into this spot right here, like that. See, I can pull that in there. There's another one somewhere else. There's one right there. And you're going to solder over that anyway, but that allows you to get a hold of this piece of glass and pull it into this intersection here. Oh, yeah, look here. There's a tiny hole there. And I'm going to get down where you can see these. Tiny hole there, pulling those in. There's a little bit of space right there. And not enough to worry about. No big deal. I don't think there's any more holes. Yeah, look here. There's one right there. Right, pull that down into there. Okay. Well, that'll do it. I'll come back when we get way into this. Thank you.